All right, it's a couple days later. Some parts have arrived. Before we do any adjustments or do anything to this tractor, I like to make sure the tire pressures are correct because that affects a lot of other measurements. So in this particular tractor, the tire pressure should be inflated to 15 psi, and that's only the rear tires. The fronts should be solid, I think. Wait, but I see... Oh, interesting. I see Schrader valves. I thought that these things were solid. I guess not. Okay. Now, if you don't know any of the specifications for your tractor, Ferris actually has a really nice website where you can look up all the specifications, service procedures right on the website based upon the model number. And you can find the model number right over here. So I've got you guys focused on the discharge side of the mower. So your deck height adjustment pedal is right up here, and your model and serial number are on a label right down here. It's kind of obstructed by these rods here, but that's where you find them. All right, let's set this tire to 15 psi. Now, I guess I don't really know what to set the fronts to because this owner's manual clearly says that they're flat free tires. So we're a little bit lower, like maybe 12 psi. That should do it. And we'll do the same thing for the other tire. All right, I think the next thing on the agenda is going to be to take the blades off and at least sharpen, probably replace. I took a peek at them through the side discharge chute over there, and one edge on one of the blades looks pretty gnarly, so I'm not going to operate under the assumption that they're not bent. So let's jack up the mower, and we'll get an impact gun, and we'll buzz those blades off. So because this thing is so pretty and new, I'm going to put a block of wood under here, but if your mower is older or you don't care, then don't bother. Just going to jack it up with a 3-ton floor jack. Not that this thing weighs anywhere near that much. This will give us room to get under it. Go as high as we can, right? Why not? Our wood's slipping. Make sure you work safely, right? Get things more secure here. There we go. You get the idea. Okay, I got the mower up reasonably high. Now's a great time to take a scraper and just scrape the bottom of the mower deck, so I'll do that now. Got the mower deck all scraped off. You can see a little bit of the grass down, if you look carefully. That's really just the beginning of it. There's quite a pile. Thankfully, though, the mower deck is actually in really good shape. The paint is still on the underside of it, most of it anyway. Now we're going to take our 15/16 socket and buzz those mower blades off with a impact gun. Here goes nothing. I did check, and both blades are pretty trashed, so there's also like a garbage bag wrapped around this one. And did I just break my impact gun? That was weird. Trigger like almost fell out. Here's our garbage bag. All right, on to the other side. That's one big ass bolt right there. Or sorry, big bolt. Let's try that again. Blades are off. Okay, so here are the blades I just took off on the left and the new blades on the right. You can see that these are pretty well beaten up there. They probably are still serviceable. They would need to be sharpened. But I'm going to switch over to my go-to blade, the Oregon Gator G5. This is kind of like the landscaper's part of the landscaper's playbook. So I'll leave a link to these in the description for this tractor, provided these fit, but they should. And I might just sharpen these blades and keep them as spares, but I don't know. Is it really worth it? Yeah, I guess it is. Now, if you take blades off of yours where there's like a groove in here, or on the other side of the blade, that's discard territory. You want this to be a nice, solid, thick piece right here. If this blade angle is worn backwards, more than, say, I don't know, a quarter to half an inch, I usually toss the blades. But if you have any doubts, just look in your owner's manual. It's actually pretty good guidance in there. Again, I'll leave a copy of this, or a link to this in the description. But it has all the mower adjusting procedures you could ever want. One thing that's super important too, before you put any blade on, is to balance it. So let's see if the old ones were balanced. Not horrible. A little left side heavy. I'll leave a link to one of these blade balancers in the description too if anybody needs one. That one's actually pretty good. Let's check the new ones. Quite often new blades are not very well balanced. Go figure, right? Let's see where this one stands. I could use a little bit of trimming on this side. I might just hit it with a grunt. That's not really worth adjusting. That's pretty darn good. Let's check the other one. I have ordered blades so that were way out from the very beginning. That one's pretty good too. Yeah, I know, all you safety folks are probably screaming at me because you don't see a jack stand under there. And yeah, I fully admit that there should be a jack stand there, but there's really no good place to put one. And not only that, the front of the tractor is probably only 100 pounds. Yeah. I would not advise doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. So let's take a look under the deck and make sure there's no places we couldn't get with the scraper while the blade was on. Assuming all is well, put the blade back on. A little spot right here. There we go. I think we're good. Okay, it's on there loosely. Buzz it on with the impact. It's not going anywhere. Now we'll go to the other side. Same deal. And this deck really does not look like it's leveled correctly. It's a lot lower on this side. I think it's why this trigger got stuck before. Some folks will actually go and sharpen a brand new factory blade too, because while there's an edge on them, it's normally not really all that exciting. This one doesn't really go in finger tight. I'll get a ratchet and run it in. The impact gun's too big to fit under there, again, because I think the deck is not level. So we'll run it in manually, and then we'll tighten it with the impact. Again, 15/16 socket. So while we're doing this, one of the things, or I guess many of the things you'll see, it's more common on a commercial mower than a residential one, like that Cub Cadet I have on the other side of the garage. The commercial mowers generally have much thicker decks. The deck on this thing I think is 10 gauge, double 10 gauge on the top near the spindles, just to avoid any damage if you hit something. Just right off the bat, it's a tougher machine on the deck side. That's once the deck wears out, the machine's essentially garbage, right? Because how much does a replacement deck cost? Oftentimes it's pretty close to the price of the machine, depending upon who the manufacturer is. Also, if you just look around the thing, you'll see that the steel is just thicker everywhere. The frame is thicker. The tires are usually heavier duty. The deck lift adjusters are probably heavier duty. I mean, it's just a higher end machine all around. All right, let's buzz this on. Impact barely fits. There we go. I think it's probably the only thing we have to lift the whole front of the mower for. So I'll let her down and make her safer. Wonderful. And again, one of the reasons I did that first is because I didn't know if those blades were bent or not. And part of the mower deck leveling procedure involves measuring the distance from the bottom of the blade to the ground. And if the blade is bent, obviously it'll be different. We could have checked the blades for straightness, but given their condition, I didn't think it was worth it. All right, so now we're going to level the deck. But before we do that, we have to make sure that the deck lift rods are timed properly. And what does that mean? It's going to be a little difficult for you guys to see with the camera, but this is one of the lift rods here. This is the pivot here. And according to the manual, you need to measure. I'll show you the picture in the manual. You need to measure the distance. You look at this picture here, the top left. Take a mental note. There's one of these back there behind the cowling. You have to measure the distance between this point here and the similar point back there, this point here, and a similar point back there. And those measurements should be within 1/8 of an inch of one another. So let's see if we can do this. It's not really a good place to latch onto here to judge if we're on or not, but we'll give it a shot, right? Let's go there. Just using a tape measure. So here I'm about 20.5. Boy, I can't see anything. Actually, wait, no, I'm doing that wrong. I'm sorry. Gotta go center line. So we're 19.5. And we'll do center line here too, as best we can. That looks pretty dead on. Again, it's hard to see because of this plastic cowling here. Yeah, it's dead on, 19.5. So this side's good. Let's check the other side now. Okay, we're on the discharge side now. I realize I'm going to be in the way. Apologize about that. Nothing I can do about it though. So here we're about 19.3. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, about 19.5 as well, maybe a little bit more. I can't see anything here. Kind of a dumb design from a maintenance perspective, isn't it? Let me block you guys with my head and see if I can come at it from this side. Hello, gray hair. Ooh, this one's actually coming apart. That's not good. It's a pin missing. I'll show you. I don't know if you guys can see that. But you see how that pin all the way down there, it's not coming all the way through. We gotta fix that. There's a better picture of it. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that when the dealer set this thing up, it probably wasn't set up properly. I'm gonna try to pop it back in with this screwdriver. I have a floor jack under the deck just to take some of the tension off of this adjustment assembly here. I don't know if I was successful or not. Appears I was because it's slack. There we go. So now we'll get, let's see if I have any cotter pins I can stick through there. Do I have anything? Yeah, I think I got some here. What's this thing? Might be too small. Maybe something like that. Let's give it a shot. Now I wonder if that's always been an issue. And maybe the mower deck was adjusted to compensate, because that would make the lift pivots not quite equal. Maybe? No, I doubt it. Yeah, the other side doesn't have that problem. The pin's going all the way through. This is why you have to inspect used equipment, guys. I guess even new equipment, because again, this could have been like this from the dealer, who knows. But as a reminder, this machine has 32 hours on it, and found this already. That was fun. Let me get back to measuring this side. The other side was what, 19.5, I said? Let's get this tape in here. And the bottom pivot is what? Yeah, so we're dead on. Alright, so our deck is already, or the deck timing rods are already nicely aligned, so we don't need to make any adjustments there. Awesome. Alright, so now we're right over here. Flat level service, disengage the PTO, so the deck height at 4 inches. And we already did the tire pressure, we already replaced the blade, so we can probably make a safe assumption they're not bent. So let's set the deck at 4 inches. That is done pretty simply by sitting in the chair. Stick this in the 4-inch hole. There we go. So we're at 4 inches. Now what do we do? So we need the blades to face front to back, just as shown here. Right? So you want the blades, one tip of the blade to be here, one tip of the blade to be in the back. And you may need to rotate the blades to get to that desired position. Then we want to measure the distance from the blade tips to the ground. And with the mower deck at 4 inches, it should be 4 inches in the front and 4 1/4 in the back. So they want the blades aimed slightly downwards. I'm pretty sure we're going to be way off from that, just by looking at things. All right, I'll try to show you this procedure on the only side that I can. Let's get the camera positioned a little bit better. Be tough, because I'm going to be in the way. But you can see the blade, installed blade right here. It's roughly aiming front to back. Let's pull a measurement from front of the blade to the ground. We're just at 4 inches. Great. Now I'm going to go to the back of the blade and see what we're at. And I'm going to get in the way doing it. This is not the most comfortable procedure in the world. So we're at like 4, about 4 1/8. It's not horrible. Let's take a look at the other side. You guys aren't going to be able to see me do anything here, so I'm not going to bother showing you, but same procedure just on this side, so measure that distance. Okay, as predicted, we're way off. The back is just under 4 inches, and the front here is about 3.5. So we definitely need to make some adjustments here. This deck is all crooked. All right, so at a high level, the procedure to level the deck calls for sticking 2x4 blocks under each corner of the deck. The back side of the deck gets 1/4 inch spacers on the 2x4s to elevate it 1/4 inch. Then you have to turn the nut here and the corresponding nut on the other side until the deck rests on the front 2x4s. Then you have to adjust the level of the chains, which is controlled by this nut right here. So not too bad. Let's we're not gonna be able to fit this under here. There's no way. Yeah, so we gotta start lifting. Looks like on both sides maybe. So what size socket is that? That's probably a deep 9/16, I would say. What do you think? That's what it looks like to me. Yep. For once I was right. So I'm gonna start turning this nut here to raise the deck until we can get this 2x4 underneath it. Can't imagine the cut quality in this thing would have been very good like this, right? And just a reminder, you have to have your deck at 4 inches to do this procedure. Okay, there we go. Make sure all the crap is off the floor. I do have another 2x4 block somewhere. Yep, right here. Gonna raise this side a tad. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to loosen until we rest on those 2x4s. The 2x4s. Okay. Like that. Kind of using it as a shim, right? Now we're going to get, I don't have any more 2x4 blocks. I'm going to use this long piece here. And normally I would cut it with a chop saw, but my neighbor has my chop saw, so we're going to make do without. Excuse me, bud. Watch out. Good boy. It'll be just fine. Now we need a 1/4 inch spacer of some kind. What can we use? 1/4 inch. Mower blades kind of look pretty close to 1/4 inch. Maybe close enough. Yeah, they're close enough. So I do stick a mower blade between each 2x4. It'll be fine. Okay, there's one. Stick this other one over here. Like so. There we go. This one needs to come down a little bit. Probably should do the front of the deck, the actual front, right? Okay, that's good. Now, I think they have you put the deck, was it, they said 4 inches, right? Yeah, it's 4 inches. Making sure. This side, ow, damn it, that hurt. Slipped. Just gonna loosen this side a little bit. Go. Now we'll loosen these nuts here. Chain's really slack right now. There we go. That allowed our chain to drop. Quite a bit, actually. Get you guys in closer. This deck was way off. You could see where things were by the goof up in the paint there, where the bolt chewed up the paint. Right there. So it dropped probably, I don't know, maybe an inch, close to it. Okay. Do the other side. And notice here how much more screw threads are sticking out. Okay, now we're over to the discharge side. That chain's pretty tight still. There we go. Any changes? Not really. So this one was probably okay. Not a big difference there. Just looking side to side, they're about the same vertical distance now, which kind of makes sense. I mean, unless this thing was backed into with a car, I don't know, had some other catastrophic damage somehow, it should be pretty much the same. Just coating the fasteners with some wonderful fluid film. Good stuff. Same deal. It's mostly for corrosion prevention. Now we'll recheck our measurements. Got the 2x4 blocking out. Let's put the mower deck back at 4 inches. I just raised it to 4.5 to remove them. There we go. Now we'll repeat our measurements and hopefully we get 4 in the front, 4 in the corner and the back on both sides. Okay, I think we're good now. I had to bring this side of the deck down just a little bit. I think what happened is these little reinforcements on the outside of the deck that are welded on wasn't quite straight on the front of the deck, so that kind of elevated things a little bit. But everything looks a lot better than it did, for sure. All right, so that is how you prepare for and level the deck on a Ferris F60Z. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please subscribe and stay tuned for more videos about this mower.